And when I really sat down to think about it, I had a remembrance of what was the whole reason why you opened up your business? Me talking to myself, Julissa. And it was so that I could have full autonomy over my life and so that I could be there for every milestone of my baby or now babies. Welcome to Mindset Mastery Podcast, where we explore the intersections of motherhood and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, and in each episode, we're diving into mindset, emotional regulation, and the real stories of mom entrepreneurs navigating both business and family life. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode on Mindset Mastery. Today, we have a slow and steady solo episode because I really want to talk to you all about how being in business has actually allowed me to create more balance and purpose in my life. Although none of this would have been possible if I never took that leap of faith. And so I want to share a little bit more about my story, some updates about what's been happening with me and my family, and how it's taught me so much over the past 4 to 6 weeks. Last time I spoke to you guys, if you guys remember, if you listened to the last solo episode, there was a lot of changes happening with childcare. My family and I decided to cease the au pair program, an au pair to live-in nanny. We were doing that for a couple of months, almost half a year. And long story short, I kept feeling like it was giving somebody else too much of an ask to watch my kids and nurture them in the way that honestly I would have or I would like to. And when I really sat down to think about it, I had a remembrance of what was the whole reason why you opened up your business? Me talking to myself, Julissa. And it was so that I could have full autonomy over my life and so that I could be there for every milestone of my baby or now babies, right? And so right now, my son and daughter, Marcus and Maya, are at the critical age of they need a lot of nurturance. They need a lot of guidance. They need a lot of support. They need a lot of love. And I'm not saying that a caretaker couldn't do that for them. It's just I was reminded with the opportunity that, you get to formulate your life and your business however you see fit in order for your life to work and to be as fruitful as possible. Some of my greatest accomplishments in business has been because of the belief and the training that I've had on a spiritual level, and also just strictly mindset and law of attraction, that quote unquote woo talk. I promise you guys that when you get to tap into that and you align that with strategic actions, masculine actions that are needed to run a business, you really have the best of both worlds. I always say you can't just live in woo and la la land. You are still human and you have to do very human things, and we have bills to pay, etc., etc. But I will say that when your spirits are lifted and reminded that truly anything is possible, the world is your oyster. And so recently what happened with this whole childcare thing is that we decided to cease, childcare, no babysitters, no nanny, no au pair. The logistics behind that, like how are we actually making this work? And is this a step backwards for us? I thought about all these things, right? Like, are we taking away support? What are we doing now? And my husband got a job promotion, yay hubby, and he has new working hours. So now my husband works Tuesday to Saturday, which is something different, but we're riding the waves to see how this works for us. And he now works 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So he used to work a 9 to 6 standard Monday through Friday kind of job. And now he works 11 to 8. And so I said, I really don't want another person in our home at this time, to be frank. I share more details about that if you want to check back to the au pair episodes and childcare episodes. But
yeah, I just wasn't really feeling that in this time. It's like I wanted my home to just be my home, and I wanted my kids to be fully taken care of by us for this season. Who knows how long this will last? That's something else that I've learned too about changing and pivoting. Entrepreneurship is a lot about pivots, and what I've learned, the beautiful thing about that is nothing has to be concrete. You get to try things and change as you see fit. So for right now, I do want to be me and my husband want to be the sole caretakers of my kiddos. And so with his new work schedule, I thought, well, first thing I thought was, well, if you're going to be working Tuesday through Saturday, um, I'm not going to work Mondays anymore because that's your day off. So immediately I was able to change that within my business, which is so amazing and something that I don't take for granted. The fact that I can just do that, right? I don't have to ask anybody. I just have to update my clients, change some meetings around that I usually had on Mondays, and we make it work, right? I only work 4 days a week. So I now work Tuesday to Friday. And so, in terms of hours, me and my husband were talking about like, can this actually work? Like, what if I worked from 6 to 10 a.m. every day? And initially, my thought was, my clients are going to think that I'm crazy. I have a lot of clients, or I had a couple of clients that were reserved for evening slots, and I was afraid of losing them. And also afraid of like not just losing them, but betraying them, and no longer having those hours available to them. But because I'm talking about all this woo talk and spiritual and manifestation, energetics, all of that jazz, I had to put myself first and my family first. And remember, the entire reasoning behind me building a business was to see all the milestones of my children, and be there for my family and pivoting as I see fit. So for right now, my kiddos are not in school yet, due to some laws here in South Carolina. Marcus, he's 3.5. He won't be eligible to join like the pre-K program in our neighborhood, the public school. They only reserve those for children with learning disabilities, and I believe like low SES, social economic status, low income, or kids that are on Medicaid or Medicare. And so it's a lot harder to get your kiddo into school here in South Carolina at the age of 4, in a public school system. So most of this is looking like paid preschools up until kindergarten, where he can enroll in the school in our neighborhood, in our community, in our county, I should say. And do the traditional schooling kind of there. So until then, I literally have a year and a half, a little bit longer. School just started in September, of Marcus essentially not really having a school, a traditional school to go to, which is fine. I'll explain more about what we've decided to do there with the kiddos in a second. But I'm mentioning all of this because in communications with my husband, I was like, what am I going to do? Can I really work 6 to 10? And so I took a leap of faith yet again. Business is always life. It continues to be, and this is taught to me through business, leaps of faith. You just try it and see what happens, and not just trying it with like, oh, I'm just winging it, but truly it felt so centered in my heart. I felt nothing but pure joy, love, excitement, and bliss, a feeling of a blessing that was upon us when I decided to say, you know what? I am going to change my business hours. I am only going to be operating from the hours of 6 to 10. And I, of course, told my team first, making sure that this was aligned and this could work for us. I have 2 team members that work with me in this company. And then we said, okay, let's tell our clientele. And to our surprise but not surprise, right? To our surprise, majority of our clients were able to make morning sessions. And in fact, they even, they prefer it now. I literally have sessions at 6:30, 6:45, 7 a.m. And it's now, winter-ish, it's fall. And so I literally talk to my clients as the sun is rising. I even gained 3 clients because of this shift, right? The universe is this beautiful mechanism, if you will, that simply matches your output and your vibration. And so in my heart of hearts, when I 10 toes in said, I choose my family, and I'm remembering the reason why I built this business, and I know that this can work out for us. It was my body's remembrance and a message, a strong message to the universe stating, this is going to work out for us. Not because I'm selfish or greedy or I don't want to work more. No, I fully want to support my clients. What I'm saying is that I get to choose my business and my family by putting my family first. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? Priority. They are priority. This is what matters most, my family, and then everything else. And I've cultivated a business that supports that was literally built upon that idea. So why would anything other than that not work or be the case, I should say? And so long story short, yes, I switched my hours. It was a little hectic, definitely getting everybody, over to new times and to be frank, I also had to higher my prices because I literally had less time on my schedule. So not only did everyone get shifted to a new time, we also bumped up pricing. And we gained 3 new clients. Like, how insane is that? Okay, talk about abundance, talk about alignment, talk about the courage it takes to do something like that, right? I know, and I'm almost on year 5. I began this company January 2020. So we're almost in year 5 of this act of being and living a life where we continuously put ourselves out there, try new things, and hope for the best. Are all of my leaps successful? Absolutely not. But when they are like this one, it's just a remembrance that we have to keep going and we have to keep trying. And we get to keep going and keep trying.
Hey mamas, real quick, are you trying to juggle motherhood and that burning desire to launch your business? Well, I've got something just for you. I'm hosting a free webinar that dives deep into how you can master motherhood and entrepreneurship. Yes, you can do both. I'll be sharing the same actionable steps that I've used to help countless moms launch their businesses while staying grounded and connected to their families. If you've been feeling the pull to start that business and you don't know where to begin, or you're struggling to balance it all, this webinar is for you. In this webinar, we'll unpack those mindset blocks, get you calm, confident, and ready to thrive as a mom and a business owner. Head to the show notes to save your seat. It's totally free. You don't want to miss this. Let's do this together, mama. Join the webinar. The link is in our show notes.
So that's my update there with how life has been going, or how we made this feasible, how I'm working. Now, I went from working about 20 to 25 hours a week to now 12 to 16 hours a week. I will be super, frank and just open and honest, because my husband does work Saturdays now. I reserve Saturday mornings for just in case. I really only see clients Tuesday through Friday, but if I have to come in on a Saturday morning and do some work, like some light admin work, I will do that, especially during this transition time of me just getting to this workflow. But I will say that the beautiful thing now is, come 10:30, 11 a.m., once it's my turn to take over the kiddos, I don't have to think about work at all until the next day. And can I tell you what a blessing that has been for me and my family? I am someone who is so passionate about the work that I do. I genuinely love helping my clients. I love working with entrepreneurs. I love working with mamas. I love helping people overcome old wounds that have been sitting in their bodies for a long time, energetically, on a mental health and spiritual aspect. I love helping people clear and better understand their traumas. I love being a therapist who's also a mindset coach, who's also a spiritual healer. I am obsessed with what I do. And I really take it as God's gift to me, through me, that I have to share these gifts with other people. It would be selfish if I didn't, if I just held all this information to myself and just who I am as a person. That would never happen, right? I want to write a book one day. I want to just get my information out there to as many people as possible through free education like this podcast, and through paid opportunities as well. And so, because I'm so passionate about what I do, there are plenty of times where I teeter the lines between working all the time, even though, I'm my own business owner and all the things, like I'm just always excitedly thinking about business. And so this break in the day, also because I wake up so early now, like I'm waking up at 5:30, 5:45, do my morning meditation, my journaling before I get into work. And then by the time, 10:30 hits, I've had my whole work day already. Like, isn't that crazy? I've had my whole work day already. And then I get to feel accomplished for the day. I took care of me, my mental health, my spiritual health. I took care of my clients. I took care of business work that needed to be done. And now I get to take care of my kiddos. And they get all majority of my day. They're with me from 11 a.m. every single day until bedtime. Some things that have just shifted for me as a mom has been, putting them to bed every night. Usually, me and my husband would split that. Of course, when we had the au pair, sometimes our au pair would put them to bed. But yeah, like it was a shift. Week 1 and 2 was like our blissful state where it was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. And I am. I'm so lucky. Let me rephrase that. I want to say I'm so blessed. I don't want to say I'm so lucky because I definitely worked to get to a place like this. But the work is not the traditional work that people think of when running a business. The work is the mindset, the spiritual beliefs, the mindset shifts that are necessary to be able to believe and walk in life like I believe, like I embody what I'm preaching because I do, right? That anything is possible, that when things are done through the vibration of love, all things will work out. Like that is an embodiment that has allowed me to live the life that I live now. Right. And so, but yes, going back to the first 2 weeks being so blissful, like, just being enamored with love of like, holy crap, like this really gets to be my life. My work ends at 10:30 and I'm with the kiddos eating breakfast, enjoying the entire day with them. Just being super in love and infatuated with life and what it gets to be alongside getting new clients. Like talk about a high of like, I'm killing it in motherhood. I'm killing it in business. Like this is amazing. Literally making the same, if not a little bit more money with less time. Amazing, right? And so then week 3 came around and reality hit, right? And listen, I'm just being honest with you guys. Reality hit in the terms of, wow, you have really long days, Jalissa. You are waking up at the crack of dawn, and you are putting the kids to bed, around 7, 8 p.m. Yeah, it took a minute for me to get adjusted. After that 2-week high of like, oh my God, everything is great. I definitely had the thoughts of like, oh, this is taxing on my body. How long can I really do this for, And so because everything is always possible when you just take time to sit and connect to self. I spoke to my husband about this of like, I love doing this. And also I'm recognizing that, yeah, I'm becoming like the primary caretaker at this time where before maybe it felt a little bit more split. And that was just new for me. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just new, right? Of like, well, actually, what the hell do I do with the kids all day? Like I am kind of now responsible for, I always was, but like I'm such a go-getter and high achiever, and like I think about these things and I love my children, which I'm sure many parents feel the same way. It's like, what am I actually teaching them? Like, is baking and cooking and gardening or cleaning the house, like, don't get me wrong, all of those things are so essential for the kids to be a part of, and it is teaching them, like we're teaching through play, but we're cleaning and cooking and doing folding the laundry, like, but like, is that enough? I always I want my kids to have the best, the most well-rounded experience of life. And so, yeah, I'm like, damn, am I getting enough socialization in for the kids? Should we be going to like an arts and play center with other kids a couple days a week? What days could we go to the library, and et cetera, et cetera. And so my husband and I sat down one night after I put them to sleep, and I was like, okay, the only way that I'm going to feel good about this is if I have a little bit of structure, right? And so like maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays we can go here and we can then do this thing over here, but I need to kind of operate on a schedule so that I know that we are hitting the all the ways that we want to support our children are being hit throughout the week. That will make me feel like a good mom, which I know there are plenty of other reasons why I am a good mother, but I'm just giving you guys the real of how my brain processes things and how I'm able to maintain clarity, maintain my vision, and maintain organization within my life, right? Listen, I give it up to stay-at-home moms because this is it's no joke. Like alongside the beauty of this, there's also the tantrums. Maya, my daughter, was potty training. She had a major regression, so there was like a week where it was pure bliss. I wasn't cleaning up doo-doo anymore, and then now I'm back to it. Just like the regular nuances of raising children, and then now also being with them all day, essentially with no breaks, I suppose, right? So we spoke about a couple of things that we would do, and we've decided to put our kiddos into this preschool, kind of like Montessori like center. Although we looked at a couple of schools, and I'm not yet comfortable, me personally, with putting my kids in a full school day. Like they're so long. And also, again, the whole point of me shifting my business was so I could spend more time with my kids. That was the other realization I had with the au pair too. While I love the extra helping hands, I really did. It allowed me and my husband to join a softball team. We had regular scheduled weekly date nights. Like it was phenomenal. There was definitely pros and cons. One of the cons was that I got to see my children less and less and less. And I didn't want that, especially not in this critical age of their lives, right? So we decided that we're going to use the budget that we used to use on childcare to help us with other things. Because I'm like, if I'm going to be with the kids all day, then something else has got to give. Where like now we need to use that money to pay for help with cleaning and keeping the house. Keeping the house clean, for lack of better words, right? So maybe somebody bi-weekly or at the very least once a month, and using the rest of those funds to put the kids in some type of learning center activity, right? And so that's what we're doing, and I'm so excited. I think weeks 3 and 4, when reality hit, I also went through a minor slump in energy. No, I would say a major slump in energy. I was feeling kind of defeated of like, can I really do this? Is this too much? Am I providing the kids with exactly what they need? And the reason being that when I was able to get myself out of that funk, I simply forgot, like I went back to doing everything by myself. And not like by myself without my husband per se, but like the mentality of like, this is it. Like, we just have to like knuckle through it kind of energy. Whereas it was like, no, we have funds to allocate to utilize for something else. It was just in the period of transitioning and getting used to our new schedule. There wasn't time to think about what preschool are we going to put them into? What kind of childcare or like anything of that sort? What art classes? What time does the library have available for them? Like I was just focused on getting my work done, coming downstairs, attending to the kids, and then kind of just like free flowing where, again, for me, that doesn't work. It just wasn't, I didn't have anything to do per se. So what we've decided is that, yes, we're going to put our kiddos in a drop-off preschool setting. Again, I wasn't fond of the whole day thing. I also don't want them going like 3 to 4 days a week. I'm probably going to take them 1 to 2 times a week for about 2 to 4 hours at a time. And what's great about this program that we have near our home is that it's a free drop off. Not free, you have to pay for it, but it's flexible. So you don't have to enroll into the preschool. You can just drop off as needed. You just have to call them the day of, or you can schedule it the week ahead of like, hey, I want to drop off my kids on a Tuesday and a Thursday this week. Is that possible? And it's kind of free flowing like that. There's no commitment. If you do it for a month and then you stop for 2 months and then you come back next month, like you can just literally drop in, which I love. And so we're gonna do that, and we're also gonna have a cleaning service come. I think we have to check the budget, but bi-weekly would be phenomenal, but if not monthly, right? And just to be realistic about the new responsibility that I have being with the kiddos all day, and how this can best work for all of us. One other thing also that I've just gotten to doing is contacting some older students here in the neighborhood, like older high school, juniors, seniors, and early college students that are babysitters in the neighborhood. We live in a phenomenal neighborhood in South Carolina where the community is just so fantastic. We have over 3,000 residents that live inside of this community. Like, it's like a little college campus over here. And so there are plenty of, and it's filled with families. So there's plenty of opportunity to connect with other individuals. That's how we found our last babysitter that was covering my work hours. She was our neighbor, somebody in the neighborhood. And so what we've opted in for is, I don't really want somebody watching my kids throughout the week per se, but me and my husband most definitely still need and desire alone time and date nights and connection and all that jazz. So, looking for someone to help out on the occasional weekend. So that is where we're at right now, and that feels really, really good. And so the beginning of this conversation was all about how business has literally made me a more balanced human being and mother, and truly it has, for all the reasons that I just explained in this episode of. And this is just a most recent update, but if you've been following me for a long time, my business has continuously molded to be what is best for me and my family. And let me give you guys some examples. When I first launched this business in 2020, I was not yet a mother nor pregnant. Sorry, I'm taking some water. And I was not yet pregnant, but I had the seed and the intention to build this business because I wanted autonomy over my time, and because I wanted flexibility, and again, because I wanted to be there for every milestone of my child. And so I used to manifest and journal every single day, saying, thank you, God, thank you, universe, for allowing me to be a present stay-at-home working mom, and allowing me, I would picture, me being in my office before I even had an office, and imagining my son, Marcus, crawling into my office, and me being able to just like stop what I was doing and celebrate his wins and just be present with him in this journey of life. And so then I got pregnant. By that point, I was able to gain some clientele in the business. I was kind of working part-time and running the business. Gave myself the confidence and courage to say, you know what, if I put all my energy into the business, we'll be even more fruitful. And yes, we were, right? I took the leap of faith. I quit my 9-to-5. I went full-time in the business 11 months into me beginning this side project, side hustle, this idea, this just experimentation of, could this really work? And 11 months in, I took the leap of faith and I quit my 9-to-5. And it hasn't been all rainbows and butterflies. There are ups and downs in business, just like there are ups and downs in life. I've learned so much, and it's made me a better human being. I was talking to my husband last night about how entrepreneurship is, it really helps you lock in the notion of pivoting. Right, the confidence and the comfortability that I have now as a seasoned entrepreneur, of knowing that success, I only have had success because of the amount of times that I've been able to assess something that I've tried, that I've launched, that either worked or didn't work, and review the data, assess, try it again. Review the data, assess, try it again. Review the data again, try it again. Pivot. My whole trajectory of business has been a series of pivots. To be frank, if you're not from the outside looking, or at least for me, like, it seemed messy, because it kind of is. You're just trying things over and over again. And and what does that remind you of? Hello, motherhood, especially in the beginning, when you have that first baby, your firstborn child, you're developing a whole new role as mother. And what are you doing? You may have read all the books, and depending on the type of person that you are, you could have tried to prepare beforehand, or just kind of just like go along as you can. There are pivots and changes. As soon as you get comfortable with the baby doing something, then they have a change or a regression or this or that, or their teeth are coming in or whatever. Like motherhood is a series of pivots. And so literally my business has allowed me to have the confidence that pivoting is okay. And in fact, it's needed for success. The same way it is in motherhood, pivoting is okay. You think you know something until you don't. You think you're going to parent some way until you don't. You think that you're going to have this routine until you don't. And nothing is wrong with it. It's the experience of life. It's a journey of growth and evolution. And so again, reeling it back into being a business owner has allowed me to be a more present woman and mother because of the principles that I've learned throughout my journey as an entrepreneur and the journey of self-belief that I have continuously grown and grown and grown over time. I always keep it real, and I let people in of like, this isn't always easy. In fact, it's very hard sometimes. But I always say it's not the business per se that's hard. It's the mindset and the limiting beliefs and the guilt and the shame. It's all of the emotions that make things hard, right? The emotions of, am I doing this right? Am I a fraud? Who am I to say these things and run this way and do this? Like literally, like all those thoughts could always come about, and they still do for me sometimes. And what I'm just really grateful for is the toolbox that I've gathered over time. Obviously, my background in mental health and psychology to be able to eventually supersede those thoughts and learn how to work around them. But I also understand that not everybody has those tools, right? Which is the reason why mentorship is so important. Education is so important, but community is so important. Entrepreneurship is something that you definitely do not want to do alone. Just like motherhood. Motherhood is definitely not something that you want to do alone. It's just too much. It's too hard. And I'm not taking away from anyone that is going through a period in their life where maybe they are alone. All I'm here to say is that it would be so much easier with help. And if help is in any way, shape, or form available to you, then yes, you should be taking it. We're not meant to do life alone. We are social creatures who thrive in community. Community within itself is healing. And so when working in a business or beginning your journey of entrepreneurship, the worst thing you can do is think that you can do it by yourself. And I mean that in all aspects, especially for moms. I mean that in like that you're going to do everything by yourself in the beginning, to cut costs. I'm all about operating skinny, but I'm also all about investing now for a later return. Not putting myself in debt per se, but knowing that there are going to be times where I need to make investments, knowing that I'm going to have a return on this and that later it will be beneficial. And an example of that is like I hired a VA, a virtual assistant in my company very, very, very early on. And it was a point where I was making enough money to kind of cover my bills and then just a little bit more. And with that little bit more, I used those funds to pay for a VA. So I wasn't really, I was paying my bills, which is great, but I wasn't really profiting, if you could say, at that point. I wasn't having surplus of income at that point. And I still decided to use a little bit of money to pay for a VA because I knew it was going to be worth it. I knew that it was going to help me make more money later. And I was just sharing with she's my OBM now. Her name is Lorena. She's the one who's editing these podcasts for us. She does so much in the company and I adore and love her so much. But I was just sharing with her how, when I first hired her, I was scared of like, oh my God, here's 300, going out every month. And like, I hope it works. And it had nothing to do with her skill sets. She was amazing. It was just like, I hope this brings me back some money. And I will never forget the first time I saw it. And it was somebody that answered our email newsletter that she was helping me curate every week, or I was writing the copy, but she was branding and editing it and sending it out. And then somebody was like, hey, I would love to have a one-to-one session with you. How can I get that set up? And I was like, oh my God, it's working. like here's a potential new client, all the things. And so I say that again to just wrap it up with saying that we cannot do life alone. Success is not, you will go so much further faster with help. And so community is essential. And not to get too off topic, but I'll say that for a different discussion because I'm literally looking at the time, and I have a one-to-one call in 6 minutes. I would say that working with less hours has made me more diligent as a person. And so let me start wrapping it up by saying that yes, my business has been my biggest blessing time and time again through the many different aspects of my life, through pregnancies, through raising two little ones. I had the whole 2 under 2 thing happen, which was such a crazy time. And the one content that I had was my business, changing my hours to best navigate through the different stages of my life as a mother, as a wife, move. And you guys know, you've heard my story over this past summer, how, well, in general, we moved from New York to Charlotte and then Charlotte to South Carolina. And throughout this last move, we didn't have to say goodbye to income, even though life was so chaotic. My business yet again got to be that foundational grounding standing point that if I needed to take a day off to go literally sign on this house because my husband couldn't, because he does have a traditional 9 to 5 where he used up all of his hours. And so literally the last couple of weeks of us closing on this home was, okay, the inspection guy is coming in. I don't have any hours. I can't go until 6 p.m. Can you go there at 4? And it would be like, let me block off my calendar. Oh my God, we have our new home orientation on X date. Can you make it? Yup. Let me block off my calendar. Like, that is the lifestyle that we get to have because of my business. And I feel very fortunate. I don't feel lucky. I feel very fortunate. I'm very proud of myself for getting to this point. And again, I wouldn't have gotten here without the help of my mentors and my team members and the love and support of my family. So if you're ready to take a leap of faith like I have been, knowing that you don't have to do it alone, mama, I highly, highly encourage you to join our BBB Mastermind, Balancing Business and Babies, A Mother's Guide to Entrepreneurship. It's a beautiful program where I am laying out the foundation of how to take an idea, something from ideation to conception, to taking the aligned action it takes to actually put your services out there and launch your business. And or if you're already beginning or have begun and stop and tried again, you will also get nurturance and guidance of how to better streamline your business, how to make it work for you and your family, and the actionable steps it takes to grow and have a profitable business. So if any of that interests you, we have a couple of links in our show notes to of things that you can look at and also join. We have a free WhatsApp group going on right now. This program launches in January, and from November until then, we are giving people a taste of what it feels like to be in community like this. So definitely join our WhatsApp group. It is absolutely free, filled with so many resources and support and just good energy with other like-minded mamas. So if this interests you, mama, I would love to see you there. I'm going to cut this episode at this time, a good 35-minute episode. I think that's perfect. And yes, I will see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining me today on Mindset Mastery Podcast. I hope today's conversation inspired you to embrace your own journey of balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. Remember, it's all about mastering your mindset to create a life of success and fulfillment in both areas. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more incredible moms just like you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and mastering your mindset.